All right, everyone, settle in. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest mysteries in all of biology. We're going to be detectives trying to crack the case of the virus. This thing is so strange, it completely blurs the line between what's alive and what isn't. So you ready? Let's get started. First things first, we need to get a handle on just how tiny our suspect is. Look at this number, 10,000. A single virus is about 10,000 times smaller than a single bacterium. To put that in perspective, right? Imagine a bacterium is the size of a bowling ball. A virus, well, it would be like a single grain of sand next to it. No wonder they're so hard to track down. And get this, even its name sounds kinda sinister. Virus literally comes from the Latin word for poison. Spooky. Early scientists, long before they could even see one, they knew they were dealing with something harmful. It just adds another layer to this whole mystery we're trying to solve. Okay, so let's get down to it. What is a virus? Let's grab our metaphorical microscope and really examine this thing. What is this tiny, tiny particle that has had scientists scratching their heads for centuries? Time to zoom in. So here's the wild part. For all the trouble they cause, viruses are unbelievably simple. I mean, they're not even a full cell like we are. It's basically just a little bit of genetic code, DNA or RNA, stuffed inside a protective protein jacket. That's it. It's nature's ultimate minimalist. But here's where it gets really cool. Even though they're so simple, they don't all look the same. Not at all. They come in all these different shapes. Some are pretty basic, like little rods. That's your tobacco mosaic virus. Others are spheres, like the flu. And then you get these complex, almost alien-looking things called bacteriophage. They look like tiny lunar landers. And that's basically what they do. They land on bacteria and inject their code. How crazy is that? Okay, our investigation is kicking into high gear now. Let's peel back the layers. We're going to look at the anatomy of this little invader. What are the key parts that make it so effective? So everything about a virus is built for one purpose, invasion. Right at the center, you've got the core. That's the important stuff, the genetic blueprint. That's protected by a protein coat. Now, some viruses get a little fancier. They have an outer layer called an envelope. And you want to know where they get it? They literally steal it from the cells they infect. Sticking out of that envelope are spikes. And these are absolutely crucial. They're like perfectly cut keys that can unlock our cells and let the virus right in. And this brings us to the heart of the mystery, the big one. We know what it's made of, we know what it looks like, but is it actually alive? I'm not kidding. This is one of the biggest debates in all of science. So let's play judge and jury. Let's look at the evidence for and against. All right, let's look at the evidence. On one hand, you could argue they're alive. Why? Because they react to things like heat, chemicals, and radiation, kind of like living things do. But then, you look at the other side. You can actually crystallize a virus. I mean, turn it into a crystal, just next salt. You can't do that to a living thing. And here's the biggest clue. If a virus isn't inside a living cell, it does absolutely nothing. It's totally inert. So we've heard both sides of the story. What's the final verdict? Is it alive or not? Well, our investigation is over, and believe me, the answer is probably not what you're expecting. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's somewhere in the middle. The best way scientists can describe it is intermediate. They exist on the borderline, this weird gray area between living and non-living. They're like ghosts in the biological machine. It forces us to totally rethink what life even means. So if we have to give it a proper scientific description, this is the best one we've got. Intracellular obligatory parasite. Ooh, big words, I know. But let's break it down. Intracellular just means inside a cell. Obligatory means it has to, there's no other choice. So put it together, it's a parasite that absolutely must live inside another organism's cells to do anything. And that right there is the single most important thing to remember from our whole investigation. Outside a host cell, a virus is just an inactive particle. But the second it gets inside, it springs to life. It hijacks the whole operation, takes over the cell's machinery, and forces it to make thousands and thousands of new viruses. It needs a host, it needs us, to truly come alive. So our case is closed, for now. But solving this one mystery just opens up a dozen more questions, doesn't it? If something like a virus can exist on the very edge of what it means to be alive, it really makes you wonder. What other incredible biological puzzles are out there, just waiting to be discovered?